Barb-Wire Bill by Robert W. Service. At the dawn of day, the white land lay all gruesome like and grim. When Bill McGee, he says to me, "We've got to do it, Jim. We've got to make Fort Laird quick. I know the river's bad, but oh, the little woman's sick. Why don't you savvy, lad?" And me, well, yes, I must confess, it wasn't hard to see their little family group of two would soon be one of three. And so I answered careless like, "Why, Bill, you don't suppose I'm scared of that there babbling brook? Whatever you say goes." A real live man was Barb-Wire Bill, with insides copper-lined, for bob-wire was the brand of hooch to which he most inclined. They knew him far. His igloos were on Kittigazoot Strand. They knew him well, the tribes who dwell within the barren land. From Koyokuk to Kuskokwim, his fame was everywhere. And he did love, all life above, that little Julie Clare, the lithe white slave girl he had bought for 700 skins and taken to his wickiup to make his moccasins. We crawled down to the river bank, and feeble folk were we, that Julie Clare from heaven knows where, and Barb-Wire Bill and me. From shore to shore we heard the roar the heaving ice floes make, and loud we laughed, and launched our raft, and followed in their wake. The river swept, and seethed, and leapt, and caught us in its stride, and on we hurled amid a world that crashed on every side. With sullen din the banks caved in, the shore ice lanced the stream, the naked floes like spooks arose, all jiggling in the gleam. Black anchor ice of strange device shot upward from its bed. As night and day we cleft our way, and arrow-like we sped. But faster still, cried Barb-Wire Bill, and looked the livelong day in dull despair at Julie Clare, as white like death she lay. And sometimes he would seem to pray, and sometimes seem to curse, and bent above with eyes of love, yet ever she grew worse. And as we plunged and leapt and lunged, her face was plucked with pain, and I could feel his nerves of steel a quiver at the strain. And in the night he gripped me tight as I lay fast asleep. "The river's kicking like a steer, run out the forward sweep. That's Hell Gate Canyon right ahead. I know of old its roar, and I'll be damned, the ice is jammed. We've got to make the shore." With one wild leap I gripped the sweep. The night was black as sin. The float ice crashed and ripped and smashed and stunned us with its din. And near and near and clear I heard the canyon boom. And swift and strong we swept along to meet our awful doom. And as with dread I glimpsed ahead the death that waited there, my only thought was of the girl, the little Julie Clare. And so, like demon mad with fear, I panted at the oar, and foot by foot and inch by inch we worked the raft ashore. The bank was staked with grinding ice, and as we scraped and crashed, I only knew one thing to do, and through my mind it flashed. Yet as I groped to find the rope, I heard Bill Savage cry, "That's my job, lad. It's me that jumps. I'll snub this raft or die." I saw him leap. I saw him creep. I saw him gain the land. I saw him fall. I saw him crawl, then run with rope in hand. And then the darkness gulped him up. And down we dashed once more, and nearer drew the jam and thunder like its roar. Oh, I could see all was lost. From Julie Clare there came a wail of pain. And then the rope grew sudden taut, and quivered at the strain. It slacked and slipped, then whined and gripped, and oh, I held my breath. And there we hung, and there we swung, right in the jaws of death. A little strand of hemp rope, and how I watched it there, with all around a hell of sound, and darkness and despair. A little strand of hemp rope, I watched it all alone, and somewhere in the dark behind, I heard a woman moan, and somewhere in the dark ahead, I heard a man cry out. Then silence fell, and mocked my hollow shout. And yet once more from out the shore I heard that cry of pain, a moan of mortal agony, then all was still again. That night was hell, with all the frills, and when the dawn broke dim, I saw a lean and level land, but never sign of him. I saw a flat and frozen shore of hideous device. I saw a long-drawn strand of rope that vanished through the ice. And on that treeless, rockless shore, I found my partner, dead. No place was there to snub the raft. so he had served instead. And with the rope lashed round his waist, in last defiant fight, he'd thrown himself beneath the ice that closed and gripped him tight. And there he held us back from death, as fast in death he lay. Say, I'm not the pious brand, but I just had to pray. And then I looked to Julie Clare, and sore abashed was I, for from the robes that covered her, I heard a baby cry. Thus was love conqueror of death, and life for life was given. And though no saint on earth, do you think Bill squared hisself with heaven? This is Humberto Reepeesnap, and that was Barb-Wire Bill by Robert W. Service.